I noticed it on a gray Tuesday morning. An empty seat by the window. Ellie's seat. Sunlight fell across her notebook, untouched for weeks. No one asked where she was. But somehow, that silence stayed with me. I called her name every day during attendance, hoping she'd walk through the door. She never did. And each time, her absence felt heavier. I wondered if I'd stopped noticing my students the way I used to. That evening, walking home in the rain, I thought about how teaching had turned into repetition. Papers, grades, routines. Somewhere, I'd lost the spark that made me believe this mattered. At home, I found an old notebook labeled Ideas That Failed. Pages full of things I once believed could change how I taught. On one page, I'd written, "Failure is where the lesson begins." I don't remember writing it, but reading it now felt like hearing my younger self whisper something I'd forgotten. I looked out the window. Rain sliding down the glass. Maybe her empty seat wasn't a loss. Maybe it was a reminder. Tomorrow, I decided I'll start looking at what's missing, not just what's complete. It's late. My desk lamp hums as I mark papers with red ink. Each correction feels heavier tonight. Then I find Ellie's name. Her essay unfinished. The title reads, "Why Stop Trying?" Halfway through, her words trail off. I think people stop trying when they... That's it. Nothing else. Just silence. Her handwriting looks desperate, like every line was a quiet fight to be understood. I hold the paper in my hands, realizing, how many messages like this have I missed? I set my red pen down. How can you grade a plea for help? I place Ellie's essay beside my own lesson plans, both covered in red marks, both stories of trying and failing. Maybe the ink I use to correct others has blinded me to what they're trying to say. I don't grade her paper. I leave it blank. Because not everything broken needs to be corrected. Some things just need to be seen. The next day, class ends quietly. Students rush out, except Amir. A quiet boy who never looks up when he speaks. He stands by the door, then says, "Sir, I failed again." Maybe I'm not made for this. Something in his voice feels familiar. I take a deep breath and reply, "Maybe you're closer to learning than you think." He looks at me, confused. "How?" "Because you're still showing up," I say. That's what trying looks like. The words leave my mouth before I think. But they hang there, warm, alive, true. As he walks away, I feel something shift inside me. Maybe failure isn't a wall to stop us. Maybe it's a doorway. And for the first time in months, I feel like a teacher again. A storm rolls in that Friday. The sky darkens, and thunder shakes the old classroom windows. I stay after school to dry the desks. That's when I find it, a folded, damp letter wedged inside Ellie's desk. It's addressed to me. Her handwriting trembles across the page. I wanted to tell you why I stopped trying. But the letter ends there. I sit down, the sound of rain filling the silence. Her unfinished sentence feels like a mirror, showing me all the things I never heard. Back home, I read the letter again and again. Maybe she didn't fail me. Maybe I failed to see her. How many voices have gone unheard because I was too focused on being right instead of being present? Next week, I'll try something different. I stopped using red ink. Instead, I write small questions in the margins. What did you learn here? What would you try differently next time? At first, students look confused. Some think it's a trick. But slowly, something changes. They begin to talk. They laugh when they get things wrong. They ask questions without fear. And I realize something powerful. When failure stops being a punishment, it becomes curiosity. One student says, "Sir, failing doesn't feel scary anymore." I smile. Not because they're learning faster, but because they're learning braver. That day, the classroom felt alive again. It's early morning when Ellie walks in again. She's quieter, older somehow. She avoids eye contact, sitting at her old desk like it's foreign ground. I walk over, holding her unfinished essay. "You can finish it," I say softly. Weeks pass. Her words begin to fill the pages again, hesitant at first, then certain. One afternoon, she stays behind. "Thank you," she whispers, "for not giving up on failure." That sentence stays in my heart long after she leaves. Maybe teaching was never about lessons and grades. Maybe it was about creating a space where failure could breathe and still belong. The final day of the term. The classroom is empty again. Sunlight spills across the desks, the same light that once fell on an empty seat. I sit down and open Ellie's essay. The title now reads, "Failure is where the lesson begins." Her words are simple, honest, and human. I fold the paper and smile. Then, quietly, I grade myself, not with letters, but with understanding. Growth, I realize, isn't loud. It hides inside small attempts, inside the courage to keep trying. The bell rings one last time, soft and steady. And for once, I don't stand up. I just sit there, listening. Because maybe the lesson was never theirs to learn, it was mine.